one more question about the future. You said that there's the possibility of taking the giggy cables that we're putting in now and bringing them to 10. What's that process look like? How long does that take? And I mean, because again, we're looking at white collar job growth, and you know, got a lot of people like Steve that are working from home that are bumping up against these speeds.
2 to 3 weeks to recognize it, put forward the plan, and set Windstream's processes in motion to get that upgrade to occur. You know, like I said, we can monitor, and our process is to monitor usage, you know, at the DSLAM aggregation level, look at those circuits. You know, when they start to bump up against 60, 70, 80% utilization, that's when we try to take action to get a bigger circuit into the network. You know, as Betty said, the explosive growth of mobile devices and video downloads, you know, has simply put us into a situation where we've got, you know, several million customers to upgrade. You know, with Jefferson, we're 63% of the way, you know, the way there. Some markets we're further ahead. You know, some of them are not.
We're looking at a high-tech area. Okay, we had some people want to come in and do some high-tech things out of a certain area.
Yeah.
Could we raise them up into a 25, 30?
So let me talk about that a little bit, because I think we've got a gap in understanding there. DSL, broadband service, like what we're talking about, is primarily a residential service. The kind of companies I think you're talking about trying to attract to Jefferson, a company that might, you know, go into a business park, or is going to be, you know, a high-tech company, need a lot of bandwidth. We wouldn't even try to sell them DSL-based broadband service. You know, we would. But you know, that's why we would approach them on a one-on-one basis as a, you know, individual cost opportunity, and either sell them, you know, direct internet access service, or some other product that is a little bit, you know, would be fiber-based, but it is, you know, based on a, you know, entirely different network, and different support levels of support, and the cost, you know, that goes with that. But we typically, businesses like you're talking about, don't buy DSL. They typically buy a dedicated circuit from Windstream that could be 100 meg, 200 meg, you know, even up to a dedicated full gigabit Ethernet circuit directly to that business.
But would you have to put in new fiber optic lines to that business?
Yes, and that's, you know, that's why we negotiate, if required, a service agreement, a contract with that business. Sometimes the business, you know, helps us offset fiber deployment, you know, whatever. You know, like I said, the point I want to make is, you know, when we really talk about the high bandwidth needs that most high-tech companies, you know, require, we love those customers. You know, we love to have an opportunity to discuss, you know, sales with them and what our opportunities are. But it is not generally related to the DSL broadband network.
One comment
They require something completely totally.
Comment about that though is the businesses around here. I haven't heard a lot of complaints from the businesses. I talked to a couple of them, and they seem to be fine because they have, you know, they bought bigger lines, and you guys are dealing with them fine. But those employees, they go home and then they have to, you know, connect to work or something like that. They don't want to live in Jackson County because they know what speeds we get, and they don't want to live here. Matter of fact, I've talked to a couple of businesses, and we'll find out that most of their employees don't live in Jackson County, and that's one of the factors. So even given the 10 gig, I mean, want it, they go to Gwinnett, they go to, you know, just outside of Jackson County, they get faster speeds. And that's where they'll find it, because they have to access.
The theoretical limit of DSL is 24. Right now, is that correct? I mean, that's
That is the fastest service that Windstream offers in any one market that we have, yes.
But we want those employees to live in Jackson County and Jefferson, not just the businesses here. That's great, we want the businesses, but we want their employees also. And it's a selling factor, you know, and just like the schools are, just like our infrastructure, just like, you know, our standard of living here. So it all plays in, and we're talking about the whole package here. You know, at least I am, as far as the future and what we need. And if you're telling me that for the near future, 10 is all we're going to get, you know, it's not going to help us.
You know, that's not, if I led to that, if I said that or left you with that impression, it isn't. But you know, at this point, that's all we're offering. That's a marketing sales decision, you know, outside my, you know, my division within the company. You know, when we don't want to offer it today and not be able to provide it. You know, we don't want to put up signs in Jefferson that says, you know, come buy 24 meg from us when
I have a problem. And the few times I've had a problem, I've called you, you've resolved it, but it's almost funny the way it's resolved. So, you know, I've walked through it, and I've told you, ma'am, when you were at our meeting, that I sat there and I wrote down everything that was said and everything that was done. And support tells me turn off the modem. Okay, modem's in the basement, I'm upstairs. I didn't move. So, okay, it's off. Okay, give it a few minutes. Okay, I did give it a few minutes. Okay, okay, turn it back on. Okay, it's back on. All of a sudden, I was back to 6. And I didn't do a thing. I didn't move out of my seat. So when that's why I'm worried that my constituent's going to call support, and they're going to get that same follow the computer help look, you know. I mean, and I understand that you have to do that. Those are the people that are new to the company, that and you're training them, that, you know, and those are the people who use it to help us. I get that. But they're tired of hearing that, I think. That's all I'm asking, is just help them.
Did you have some more questions? I'm going to call for public comment in just a second. I'd like to thank you for coming and explaining all this to you. And a little kudos for Windstream. You know, we're building a new library and a police station. And they've really come to the table to help us out with that project. So now we'll have a public comment session. If you'll come up to the podium, give your name and address, and ask a question.